All right, let's dive right in. Today we are talking about two absolute giants in the JavaScript world, NPM and Yarn. These are the tools that, honestly, build the entire modern web as we know it. So, what is this invisible force? Well, let me paint you a picture. Before these tools existed, imagine you had to manually download, update, and manage hundreds, sometimes thousands of different software packages just for one project. It was absolute chaos, and that's exactly the problem these tools were created to solve. And that right there is what we call JavaScript's dependency dilemma. You see, modern applications aren't really built from scratch anymore. They're assembled, kind of like Legos, from countless open source packages. And if you're a developer, you know this feeling. Trying to manage all the updates and versions and just keeping things consistent across your whole team, it's a huge challenge. So a really great way to think about a package manager is to see it as your project's own personal automated librarian. You hand it a list of all the books you need, that's your package.json file, and it goes and finds them. But more importantly, it makes sure every single person on your team gets the exact same set of books, down to the same edition. And that little piece of magic, that's what the lock file does. This brings us to the original hero of our story, the one that started it all, NPM. It was really the first tool that brought some much-needed order to the wild west of JavaScript dependencies. So what is it exactly? Well, NPM stands for Node Package Manager, and it's the default tool that comes with Node.js. Since it was created back in 2010, it's grown to manage the largest software registry on the planet. I mean, over 2 million packages, that's just mind-boggling. If a piece of JavaScript code exists out there, you can bet it's on NPM. At the heart of every single NPM project, you're going to find this file, package.json. You can think of it as the project's passport or its ID card. It lists all the basic info, like its name and version, but most importantly, it lists all the other packages your project needs, its dependencies to actually work. And the workflow is actually beautiful in its simplicity. You just run npm install. NPM then reads your package.json file, goes out and downloads all the code you need into this big folder called node.modules. And then, and this is the crucial part, it creates a package.lock.json file. That lock file is the secret sauce. It's the guarantee that everyone on the team gets the exact same setup every time. Okay, but how does it handle updates? It does it through something called semantic versioning, or semver. These little symbols, the caret and the tilde you see here, are like instructions for NPM. The caret says, hey, you can grab any new minor updates as long as they don't break anything. The tilde is a bit more cautious. It only allows tiny bug fixes. It's a really smart system for staying up to date without blowing up your project. But, it wasn't perfect, not by a long shot. The early versions of NPM had some serious growing pains. It installed packages one by one by one, which was painfully slow on big projects. And worse, you'd get these situations where code worked on one person's computer, but was totally broken on another's. And if you lost internet, forget it, you weren't getting any work done. These cracks in the armor really set the stage for a new challenger. And that challenger was Yarn. It was developed at Facebook back in 2016, specifically to deal with these exact problems on their massive code bases, like the one for React. Their goal was super clear: make it fast, make it reliable, and make it secure. Yeah, Yarn was really engineered from the ground up to fix what was broken with early NPM. It brought two game-changing ideas to the table. First, installing packages in parallel at the same time. And second, a super robust log file that guaranteed deterministic builds. And deterministic is just a fancy way of saying the build would be perfectly 100% repeatable every single time on any machine. And this right here, this illustrates the core difference perfectly. While the old NPM was like a single cashier checking out one person at a time, Yarn opened up a bunch of checkout lanes and served everyone at once. This parallel approach was a massive performance win, and it's probably the #1 reason developers started switching over. But it wasn't just about speed, right? Yarn brought some other really powerful features. Its log file was just more reliable from day one. It had an offline cache, so you could reinstall packages even on a plane with no Wi-Fi. And it was a huge champion of workspaces, which made it way easier to manage mono repos, where you have multiple different projects all living inside one big repository. Okay, so fast forward to today. How has this all shaken out in the professional world? Well, now both of these tools are absolutely critical for modern automated workflows. Things like CI/CD pipelines that build and test our code for us automatically. So, in response to Yarn's popularity, NPM got a lot better. They developed the npm CI command, and this is a game changer for automation. Unlike a regular npm install, this command doesn't even try to update anything. It does a clean, super fast install based only on what's in the lock file. That's exactly what you want for reliable builds. And, of course, Yarn has a similar command too. But Yarn didn't stop there. With their second big version, they introduced an idea that was, well, it was kind of radical. They proposed getting rid of the Node modules folder altogether. For developers who are used to seeing this gigantic folder in every project, this was a truly mind-blowing idea. So this new tech is called plug and play, or PnP for short. Instead of copying tens of thousands of files into Node modules, PnP just creates a single file that acts like a map, telling Node.js exactly where to find every package. And what does this get you? Well, way faster project startups, a huge reduction in disk space, and it even enables something called zero install workflows, where you don't even have to run an install command at all. All right, so after all of that history and all those features, we get to the big question. Which one should you actually choose? NPM or Yarn? Let's try and break down the final verdict. Looking at it side by side like this, the choice becomes a bit clearer. NPM is the default. It's the standard. And it's gotten really, really good over the years. It's solid, it's reliable. Yarn, on the other hand, is the innovator. It keeps pushing the envelope with these cutting-edge features like plug and play and zero install, which often makes it the faster and more forward-thinking choice, especially for really, really big projects. But here's the thing. It almost doesn't matter which one you choose, because the professional best practices are the same for both. You always commit your lock file to your repository. You always use the special CI commands in your automated pipelines. You regularly audit your code for security holes. And you should use workspaces for monorepos. These rules apply to everyone, no matter what tool you're using. And that really is the most important point of all. This was never about one tool winning and the other losing. The competition between NPM and Yarn has been incredible for all of us. It's a classic story of rivalry pushing both sides to be better, and because of that, the entire JavaScript ecosystem is now way stronger, faster, and more reliable than it's ever been. So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We went from total manual chaos to automated installs, and now to things like zero installs. As our tools keep getting faster and smarter, what's the next big problem? What's the next great challenge in building software that a future package manager will have to solve? It really makes you wonder.